Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to the monthly Town of Milton Board meeting. Today is November 15th, 2023. The time is 6:30. I'd like to get the meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Cook.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Gossett.
Present.
Councilman Froelich.
Present.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Present.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Present.
Supervisor Osterman.
Present. First on the agenda, motion to accept the regular board minutes from October 25th, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Osterman.
Yes, next, a motion to accept the minutes from the public hearing on the preliminary budget from November 1st of 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Osterman.
Yes, next, a motion to accept the minutes from the special board meeting held on November 8th of 2023.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Is that Doc?
Right.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Osterman.
Yes, next on the agenda, public comment number one. Public comment number one is agenda items only. Anybody in the audience would like to speak? Tim Banton.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I just had two quick items of clarification on two separate resolutions. The first one is 109. That addresses the contract with Spectrum for the fiber optic line for the new highway facility. I just wanted to know if it's common to have a need for a fiber optic line at a facility like that. And then secondly, I didn't see what the cost was of that. There was a service agreement attached to the resolution, but it did not include the cost, so I was just wondering. The second resolution item I wanted to ask about is 111, which was the dam inspection at Woods Hollow. It indicated there was a report attached and I did not see that. So I was just wondering what the outcome of the dam inspection was, that's all. Thank you.
Tim, I believe the fiber optic is the adjacent, correct me if I'm wrong, the fuel island is run by, needs a cable to run the system?
Yeah, we need that right now. Once the fuel line's up and running, that has to be part of it in order for it to function, as well as if the highway garage goes in down the road, it'll also be functioning for that.
Tim, once that resolution is approved, I'll get you a copy of the meeting.
Okay, great, thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Nikki. I just wanted to speak in favor of the Knollwood Hollow,
What's your address, please?
14 Alice Ave, Saratoga, New York.
I'm sorry, 14?
Alice Ave.
Okay, thank you.
In favor of the Knollwood Hollow project and adding the extra living space in the basement for and allowing the residents to put in egress windows. There's been some back and forth about whether or not this should be done. The residents in the actual facility have voted 70% in favor of it, but there's still a little bit of pushback, and I just wanted to come up and say that it's just going to add on value for the property to add the extra living space and allow the residents to take care of the egress windows, so I don't really see a negative to it, and as somebody who's looking for a bigger space myself, I think it would be a really attractive option if that was allowed, because it's going to allow for larger families to be able to move in there and just raise the value of the property overall. Okay.
Thank you, Nick. Anyone else? Mike Iculucci.
Good evening. Thank you. Mike Iculucci, 9 Russell Street. Again, just a couple of quick questions pertaining to the Woods Hollow Nature Preserve due diligence. The report, which was very lengthy, and I cannot claim to have read every word, I did not see a reference to the purchase price. And the assessment basically concluded that the purchase price is reasonable. But could you just remind us what that purchase price is, and to the extent that there were any services as part of the agreement that the town has agreed to provide that it previously did not, was the cost of those services included for whoever it is, Sterling, who conducted the assessment and concluded the purchase price was reasonable? Thank you.
Anyone else? Brenda, anyone?
No hands up.
Hearing none. Public comment number 1 is now closed. Next on the agenda, a presentation by Nancy Williams on Section 8 housing. Nancy? Good evening, Nancy. You're welcome.
Good evening, my name is Nancy Williams. I'm here to represent the Central Office Section 8. We are a program that administers Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program, vouchers for low-income and disabled families across many municipalities. The reason that I'm here this evening is that I reached out to the supervisor. I had a meeting over the summer with the mayor in the village of Ballston Spa. We currently administer that Section 8 housing program. There is capacity in that program, meaning that right now the program is underutilized. And part of our question to the mayor was, what is it, there are multiple reasons for Section 8 to work well. It's a two-pronged test. There has to be people that need the service, and there has to be affordable housing for folks to be able to rent in any given area. In our conversation, in my conversation with the mayor, one of the things that he asked was for me to meet with the superintendent of schools, Dr. Duca, because Dr. Duca had talked to the mayor about the issue of homeless families in the Ballston Spa School District and the growing number of families that are either at risk for losing their housing, who are doubled up in their housing, or whose housing is unstable because of economic reasons. And their question to me, and then my question to the supervisor was, would the town of Milton be willing to consider extending the jurisdiction of the Village of Ballston Spa Housing Choice Voucher Program into the town? And the supervisor and I had a brief conversation. What we're really looking to do is to identify, working with the resource officers at the school, identify families that we know who are under-resourced either financially or with familial connection, to stabilize families that we know are at risk of homelessness who are currently enrolled in the Ballston Spa School District. Both the mayor and the superintendent were very clear that this is really an effort to make sure that the students that are currently enrolled in the school district have stable housing so that they can be successful in their educational career. So my presentation here to you tonight is to answer any preliminary questions. I didn't come with a big, long historical perspective or lots and lots of detail. I really am here just to open up this conversation to see if this is something the town would be willing to have further conversation about. And if there's any kind of immediate questions or immediate concerns that folks have, I'm happy to take that back, get back to people if I don't have the answer. I think the superintendent of school has given us permission to work with the resource officers in identifying families, so I think we've already established that there's a route and a mechanism by which we can put this into place. As a program that has capacity, that means that there isn't a lengthy waiting list. We have very long waiting lists in some of our programs. That's not the case in this program. So it would seem to me that assistance could be relatively, it's a HUD program, there's nothing quick about it, but relatively efficiently managed so that we could stabilize families in the communities where they currently reside. So I'm open to any preliminary questions. I know as folks process that, there'll be lots and lots of questions. I'm happy to give individuals my contact information for further conversation. I'm happy to sit with any group of people that would like to explore that. I'd like to kind of get a sense whether we can move forward on this. We're coming up on the Christmas holiday and the Christmas recess, which is typically an extremely large stressor for families that are in economic uncertainty. And it often results due to many factors, but certainly the high cost of heating, the high cost of housing. We typically see an uptick in crises during these times of year, and I'd like to be able to think about whether we can move forward with this at some point. It's certainly not going to be that quick and that efficient, but I'd like to know that we have a plan in place if it's a possibility.
I just have a question. You keep referencing the school with children. Are you saying the Section 8 program that you're looking to enact in the town is only Section 8 with children? Because I know Section 8 covers other than children.
So the primary demographic on the program are elderly and disabled adults. That is just the primary demographic. They are the largest consumer pool. The next then is families with children. And so a single individual, unless they're elderly or disabled, isn't eligible for Section 8. So the next then kind of eligible population are families with children. And really, we couldn't limit it. I mean, federally, we wouldn't be allowed to limit access to the program, but I think we can assure you that our outreach efforts and our recruitment efforts for the individuals that we would be looking to fill the program with would be folks that are already residing in the area and who have children enrolled in the school.
I got a couple of questions, actually.
Sure.
Are you saying, and maybe I'm misunderstanding here, Section 8 doesn't come into the town of Milton presently?
The Village of Ballston Spa program does not. The town of Milton is covered under a Saratoga County program, but that program has an extensive waiting list and really doesn't have immediate availability. And as a county-wide program, the geography is obviously much larger. So we have a program locally that has capacity that we would like to take advantage of.
When are we supposed to get our nails done?
And do you have an idea of what kind of need you're looking at as far as?
I don't, I mean, when I met with the superintendent and the mayor, we had a conversation in general. I'm certain that the school could provide us with some more detailed information, and I'm certainly willing to ask Superintendent to prefer that. But I think, given, none of these programs are robust, they're relatively small, and so we may be talking, and I apologize, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we're probably talking 10 families to 15 families.
Are we talking about apartments? You would get these people in apartments, or are we looking at hotels?
Oh my goodness, no, it's permanent housing, and it must meet HQS standards, housing quality standards, it's set by HUD. So it is permanent support, it's permanent financially supported housing. And some of it's standalone, when you say apartment, some of it is standalone, but it's rental units, however that configuration may be.
And as far as the standards go, would that also cover our manufactured home communities?
Yes. The standards are the standards, regardless of the nature of the rental.
Stringent.
Anyone else?
So if you have the concept here is this program does not exist in the town of Milton, do you have any idea of how many property owners would even be interested in this program if it were to be accessible in the town? Or what does that process look like?
So generally when a voucher is issued to a family, they have a period of time to identify rental housing. And so they are free to rent from whatever landlord, whatever apartment complex, whatever private landlord they have. So I don't have a list of all of the landlords or rental properties in the town, but I know that there are a number of properties in the town that would be eligible to participate in the program if they chose. The voucher size determines what HUD allows for the rent, so it's different for every configuration, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom.
Does your program cover the entire rent, or is the rentees responsible for a portion of that?
They pay a portion of it, so it's based on a calculation that takes into account their total housing cost and their total income, and they pay about 30% of their adjusted gross income, and then we pay the balance using the Section 8 stipend.
And out of curiosity, is your program strictly for people that are looking to rent now, or could it be used for people that are renting now?
Well, they can rent in place, so if someone applied to the program and were already in a rental, absolutely, they can stay in place. That's preferable. It's always easier to keep someone in housing than it is to help find somebody housing and then get them into housing.
Anyone else? John, anything?
I'm good.
Thank you, Nancy. We
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
thank you all.
Next is a presentation by CVC Realty regarding the Knollwood Hollow Terrace PDD amendment.
Good evening. My name is Corey LaPointe. I am the president of CYC Realty Management. We are a property management company based in Latham, New York, serving multiple condominium and homeowners associations in the area. I am here representing the Knollwood Hollow Community Association with a request to amend the existing PDD law, local law 2 of 2004, specifically requesting the deletion of subsection I under section 7 use restrictions. This section states that basements are for mechanical and storage only. Basements may but not be used for a habitable space. Knollwood Hollow is a community of 68 units. They're elderly citizen units where elderly citizen is defined as 55 and up. Recently, within the community, a home was put up for sale that had a finished basement. That finished basement had existed for a number of years. A neighbor in the community filed a complaint with the building department over the violation of the PDD. That has subsequently led to the town sending the association correspondence as well as the homeowner. And there have been approximately 8 more violations noted between various neighbors complaining about other neighbors having finished spaces within the basement, within their basements. Many of these, is our understanding, have existed for many years within the community. Some of the owners who were notified purchased their condominiums with the basements already finished. The governing documents for the association are silent on basements and their uses. An association board of directors, currently Knollwood Hollow is governed by 5 board members, is required to govern according to certain documents. That's their certificate of incorporation, declaration, and bylaws. The enforcement of the PDD falls upon the town. So I've had multiple communications with the building department relative to this, and one of the options that was explained to us as an option was amending the PDD. The other option is, in order for owners to be compliant with the PDD, is they would have to address the basements, tear out what's there, etc., to bring them into compliance. So as what the board and I did, we've had an annual meeting recently, and then we performed a survey to see what the community in general supported as it relates to this issue. There are 68 homes, as I previously mentioned. 54 homes participated in the survey. And the survey basically asked, are you supportive of amending the PDD to allow owners the ability to finish basements in a code compliant way? 38 homes supported amending the PDD. 16 homes were against amending the PDD, and 14 didn't respond. So from our standpoint, we feel that the community as a whole, the majority of the community as a whole supports moving forward with amending the PDD. As part of this process, we've had communications with the building department, assessor's office, and town clerk. All have been helpful in providing information to get us to this point. Thank you for your time and consideration, and we hope that the board will consider this application to give owners a choice in using their basements in a code compliant manner to potentially allow egress that would go through the permit process.
I got question, is this like a deed restriction or just an association type of thing? I mean,
It is a PDD restriction.
when someone buys a unit there, are they all notified? Do they all know about this?
No. So the PDD is not specifically referenced in anyone's deed that I could find.
I guess why was this going? I'm gonna have to look up, I'm gonna look up that resolution and go through that.
Yeah, I'm not, I can't speak to it. Yeah, the town board has the authority over the PDD, so this is a local law by the town, but there's no reference to basements in the governing documents for the association, which is the certificate of incorporation, declaration, and bylaws.
Thank you.
Is there a percentage of people that have to come forth before you can apply?
Apply for what?
In other words, is there a percentage of homeowners over here that have to come forth before we can go forward with this?
Not my understanding. So,
Yes.
Yeah, so section 180-80 of our town code, which deals with changing zoning, and PED, as you know, is zoning, it's a zoning district, specifically says there's only 3 ways to amend that. One is by motion of this board on its own, which has not happened. The second is by a request from the planning board, which also has not happened. And the third one is a petition from at least 50% of the frontage owners of that district. So what I would suggest is, it sounds like you already have that, is you would get at least 50% of those property owners to sign a petition saying they want that done. I mean, it's not something the town would on itself just automatically do and say, hey, we want you to finish off your basements. The town just wouldn't get involved with that. But if we have that 50% of the property owners indicating they want that, at least 50%, I think that needs to be in our file so we can go forward on it.
okay, I had not been told that previously.
Well, it's right in our code for change to the zoning.
So by my understanding though is we're asking to amend the PDD. Is that an actual change in the zoning?
Absolutely. PUD is by definition is zoning. Within the town, it's its own zone.
Okay.
And it has all this criteria in it. If you want to change any part of that criteria, you're changing the zoning.
So there are 3 options to change it, right? Or do all 3 have to be met?
No, just the one option that you're dealing with, because you guys have come forward yourselves as property owners. I assume it's some of these people out here. So we would need something signed, a petition signed by at least 50% of the owners of the frontage on the road. And how many?
But not all units front the road.
So, yeah, so the question that comes to my mind is in the condo scenario, the structure is, I assume, bought by the homeowner, but the real property remains in the name of the collective ownership of everyone in the condo.
Not necessarily. So
Well,
the,
I'm asking you.
Yes.
what it is.
yes, so in a condominium, it's basically walls in, the sheetrock in that's owned by the homeowners, right? The association owns the roofing, the siding, the foundation, etc.
The real estate, the land.
The land is also owned by the
I
association.
think it's owned by all of the condo owners collectively.
Yes, it is common interest.
Yeah, common interest. So I think that's why we would need that 50% petition signed.
And once you get the 50% petition signed, then the board takes action to vote on that?
We'll move forward with the zoning change, but, I mean, we can still move forward tonight by referring it to the appropriate board to
Sure.
refer it to. But I think for our paper trail, we have to have that requirement fulfilled.
Okay. So 50% petition signed, right?
At least 50%.
Right. We get it presented to the board, and then that would be enough for you to vote in favor of this.
That's enough for us to go forward. We still have to have a public hearing on it.
Okay.
It has to go to county planning and our planning board, and we get recommendations from them as far as that. It'll be, go to our building department to get recommendations. Once we get all those recommendations, we'll have our public hearing. We have to go through the secret process, as our engineer knows. Then we'll vote on it, and then maybe we'll approve it.
Okay.
Again, it's not something the town would do on its own, direct that development, be able to finish off their basements. It comes from that development, that PDD group.
Okay.
The request for it, that's why.
So, you know, again, the group is governed by a board of directors. The board of directors has voted to move forward with the PDD amendment.
I still need that.
Okay.
We don't know that you guys have the authority. You came in here and told us you have the authority by
Sure.
your application. So if you're saying you have authority, you're also telling us you have at least 50% of the people that are.
Correct.
We need to see that.
Okay.
I have a couple more questions.
Sure.
I was trying to understand why this was a kind of a strange request in the PDD originally. Are all, and I'm not familiar with the units over there, I've never been in any of them. Can you tell me the average square footage of the floor?
It varies between the first floor and the second floor units. First floor units are roughly 1,200 square feet, second floor units are roughly 1,600 square feet. Each one has a garage, each one has access to a basement.
We can assume is 1,200 square feet?
So no, so in the 4-unit building, right, you've got your footprint of the 2 first floor units, and under each of those units is 4 separate basements. Because each unit has a basement.
So then we're looking at 600 square feet.
They're about 6 to 700 square feet.
How much of it is taken up by mechanicals?
In most cases, not much. In the units themselves, the washers and dryers in many of the units, I believe in the second floor units, are all located upstairs along with the hot water tank, right? You're talking, I think, furnace is predominantly down in the downstairs basement. Again, from an association standpoint, we don't deal with the insides of the units. We're mainly tasked with governance of the exteriors.
And access to the basement, is that done internally in the apartment, or is it done through the garage, or how do you access it?
Internally through the condominium.
Because it seems to me, and I don't want to put words in our building department, that this would have been a safety issue originally, and the square footage. Have we talked with the building department? Is this something that they could do to code?
That's my understanding. The building department is the one who actually brought the idea of an amended PDD to us as one of the 2 options for owners within the community.
Out of curiosity, for the residents who were against the PDD amendment, did they indicate why?
Some commented that they were worried about additional family members, you know, if a basement was converted to a bedroom, etc.
I guess that
Kids.
my question is, are we looking at, I don't want these sexist man caves, or are we looking at bedrooms?
I think you're looking at a combination, right? I can't speak to the exact nature of the finished spaces. Mr. Lewis, I believe, could speak to that more specifically, as he's inspected the majority of these that have been finished. I know one of the complaints was an owner had a very simple office in the basement, right? You know, some have had much more elaborate finishings done.
And I guess my other question, are there presently any of the apartments over there that are Airbnb rentals?
No, not permitted.
Okay.
Our governing documents can address that.
Okay. That's about all I have.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. agenda resolution 106 of 2023, enacting local law number 3 of 2023, modifying town code chapter 180, section 180-5, 180-42, and 180-87. Whereas the town board, town planning board have been reviewing various town zoning regulations and related laws, and now therefore be it resolved, the town board, town of Milton hereby approves the modification of current town code 180 regarding cannabis dispensaries and adopts local law 3 of 2023, which adds section 180-5, 180-42R with subsections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 180-87, which local law shall take effect immediately, a full copy in which local laws are attached here to, and now therefore be it resolved that the town clerk be and she hereby is directed to enter into said local law in the minutes of the meeting and local book of the town of Milton, and to give due notice of the adoption of the said local law to the Secretary of the State of New York. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, town of Milton. Motion for resolution number 106.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this till next month. The reason being, I'd like to review some of the state laws. I'm not really sure on some of what the state actually requires. The other one was, I had an interesting conversation with the city of Saratoga today. They do have regulations in place. I'd like to review neighboring communities, especially Ballston Spa, if they have anything in place. I'm not sure they do. You said something?
Bless you.
Okay.
Bless you.
Saratoga, in the regulations, has put in with their permits, they actually have a dispensary, and they have on-premise use, that we didn't vote for. But, and they're putting in a dispensary on West Avenue, across from the post office. And one of the regulations is the permit is good for 1 year to be reviewed for renewal by the city. And I thought that was kind of a good idea to look into. So I'd like to make that motion to table it and give us all an opportunity to look into some of these neighboring communities and where we can fit in here the right way with this.
Just to follow proper protocol, Scott read the resolution and asked for a motion. If no one's going to make that motion, then certainly we can entertain yours. We can't interject in the middle of his motion. After hearing what Barb said, if you guys are collectively willing to, make sure.
So I'm not sure, Jim, if you, the state sets the regulations, that means, correct?
No.
The state would set the permit, so I don't think we have the right to say your permit's only good for a year. That's the state's.
I don't know.
That's the state's.
I don't know.
We can add certain things like separation of distances, reasonable, hours of operation, reasonable hours of operation, in certain communities. If that's what you're getting at.
Do you think Saratoga would be challenged? I'd like to, look into it. Like I said, compare what we have down, the suggestions we have compared to the state. And in Ballston Spa, I think we have to kind of.
We have a permit that is before us.
Pardon me?
We have a permit that's before us.
Two.
Applications.
Which will go forward as a retail business if we don't have something in place.
Correct.
With no review, absolutely no review, it will go.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I could swear you guys had some kind of one-year thing in your
We can put a
thing
condition
that we
on,
voted on, that you voted on last week,
we can put a condition on it.
or last month.
To re-review it.
I thought there was something in there
But
about.
we're not issuing the license,
We're not issuing a license.
so the state, we can't.
Our condition would be
we can't-
for them to come back in for.
We could have
review of the
come
site
back
plan,
in and
Right.
re-review it as a special use.
Special.
Special permit.
We
Not
routinely do
The
that.
actual license, because we don't issue the license.
We don't do it. But it'll go as a retail business. We don't do something.
Can we legally set hours for a legal business?
You can set hours of operation.
Can we go over to the liquor store and say you have to close at 6 o'clock?
Yes,
But we don't presently do that.
we don't do that routinely.
I guess what makes this any different than the liquor store, Cumberland Farms, Stewart's, it's a legal business,
Right now, it'll be a retail business.
a legal retail business.
applications
And
we
would
have
we do
before us
that?
will go. We don't have a special use permit for retail businesses.
Because as it stands right now, if we pass what we had, and I talked to Jim about it this afternoon, there's 1,000 feet separation. In that, and the two present, I don't know,
2100 and 2142.
are less than 1,000 feet apart.
So we would limit that. It would be-
Well, not necessarily because they're in, so that, to me, would be grandfathered.
I don't think their license hasn't been issued, I think they put in a request, right? So that's gonna come down to whether the state wants them located that close. And if the state sees our code,
That's true.
then we take that into consideration. Our code, as it's written, our new law, does not specifically say current applications that are pending or grandfathered in. And one of the things that John's pointing out is that under the new law, it gives the planning board at least a bite at the apple as far as special exception or special use permit to put some type of criteria in. Versus if we don't have that in place, they just get approved, they do what they want.
Well, I'm not in favor of passing zoning and then in 2 months decide we're gonna change it.
Is there a motion for the resolution which I read, 106?
I'll make that, to be honest with you. We've had this for quite a while.
You have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion, any other discussion, or we're gonna just go with what we had? Okay.
I have a discussion with John. So John, if we enact this evening, that just stops what's going on right now. We can make changes down the line, is that what you're saying?
You can make changes if you want. If you enact this, you'll have a special use permit with those standards that are there. You could, in a month, change those standards if you want. In 6 months, you can change those standards if you want. But you'll have something, you'll have a special use permit with whatever standards are there right now. If you don't enact them, they'll come in and be a retail business with no review,
So this locks us into
a special use permit.
special use in case they come in now.
Yes.
Okay. That's my question. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions for John while he's up there?
A quick question. Where did we come up with, so for number 3, it's limiting the hours of operation from 8 AM to 8 PM. What did we model that off of?
I looked at a couple other laws that were out there.
Okay.
I picked it.
Okay.
So you could change that tonight. If you wanted to make it till 9 PM or 10 PM, you could do whatever.
I don't think we can.
That's kind of, yeah, like I said, that's
Can we,
kind of
Jim?
the issue.
Now, I think if we start doing those changes, they're significant
Then
enough
it has to go back.
to rehaul our public hearing.
Yeah, we have to go through the whole,
It was just, you know,
Okay.
I think the liquor store was operating at 8 AM to 8 PM. So I was like, okay,
well, I looked up the liquor stores and they go any place from closing at
They,
8
I
to
mean,
10:30.
the one was,
So-
when I looked at it, was 8 to 8, so I was like, oh.
And then one other question, under number 6, which is setting minimums as measured. One is 1,000 feet from another dispensary. Is that feedback from our board or something that?
It's just what I drafted and the
Okay.
board looked at it and thought that was okay. And I think I tried to do a measurement right in the town center here, was roughly 1,000 feet was getting you could get more than one in the town center.
Okay.
You know, if I put 2,000 feet, you weren't gonna get more than one in the town center. You're gonna just, depending where you put it.
Is that the minimal on that, John? 1,000 feet?
That's what I said, yeah, that, yeah, at least 1,000.
And that was kind of one of my issues and what I sent out an email to the board earlier this week, that do we want these 1,000 feet from each other in our town center? We're trying to
That was
develop
always-
a family-friendly, walkable town center, and is that what we want? Right now, we have 2 applications on the Route 50 corridor that are less than a block apart. No, is that what we want? Is that the face of our town center? I don't know. but I don't agree.
I mean, I just put them out there, they've been
I
there
truly
for
think
4
you're
months.
going down a slippery slope with that.
You think what?
You're going down a slippery slope. Because I mean, how do we judge as a town board? You're doing a legal business. So now you're getting into morality. And I don't think we wanna go there, to be honest with you. I think these things govern themselves, and that'll be by the amount of people that use them. If we don't do anything tonight, we're gonna get overrun with these license requests, because Saratoga presently has 4. And I don't necessarily think that, I think we want some kind of say-so. That makes sense.
And we can always modify them down the line.
That's right.
Ready for vote?
Yes. Thank you, John.
Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
No.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes. Next, resolution number 107 of 2023, resolution to approve the contract change order for the work on the Rollins Street Highway Facility Cold Storage Building. Whereas the town board was advised of certain additional work and was recently discovered that the needs to be done to proceed and finish the work of the cold storage building located on Rollins Street Highway Facility, which was covered under allowances by the original contract entered into between the town and Bass Hatfield Construction LLC. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board, after due consideration upon recommendations from the town engineer and project architect Delaware Engineer DPC, the town comptroller authorizes and awards the following change orders set forth in the attached A1A change order proposal form. Bass Hatfield Construction LLC, additional excavation required under building pad and to remove unstable soils containing organic materials from proper and needed foundation preparation, said drawn down being in the amount of $36,171, and is therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby directs the town supervisor to take whatever steps are necessary to execute an agreement between the town of Milton and Bass Hatfield LLC for such additional work and any change order documentation or inspection documentation which will be needed and necessary for the processing and completion of the change orders, and to do all that is needed and required to pay all amounts owed under the agreement. Now therefore be resolved by the town board, town of Milton, motion for resolution number 107.
Make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes, next resolution number 108 of 2023. Resolution to approve contract change order for work on Round Street Highway Facility Fuel Dispensing System, whereas town board was advised certain additional work was recently discovered that needs to be done to finish and complete the work of the fuel dispensary system located at Round Street Highway Facility, which was not anticipated, not covered by the original contract entered in between the town of Milton and R.M. Dalrymple Company Incorporated. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board, after due consideration and upon recommendation from the town building committee, town engineer and project architect Delaware Engineer and DPC, and town comptroller authorizes and awards the following change orders as set forth in the attached A1A change order proposal form. R.M. Dalrymple Company Incorporated, 16 6x6 concrete bollards, 40 yellow bollard covers, and 48 14-inch sonotubes for the sum totaling $12,814.96. Resolved that the town board hereby directs the town supervisor to take whatever steps are necessary to execute an agreement between the town of Milton and R.M. Dalrymple Incorporated for such improvements and work, and any required change order documentation and inspection documentation which will be needed and necessary for the process and completion of the change order, and to do all that is needed and required to pay the amounts owed under this agreement. Motion for resolution number 108.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes, next resolution number 109 of 2023. Resolution to approve the 36-month service agreement for a dedicated fiber internet service with Spectrum Enterprises at the fuel dispensing system located at the new Rollins Street Highway facility, whereas the town of Milton fuel dispensing system at the new highway facility is under construction and requires a dedicated fiber internet connection, and now therefore be it resolved, the town board does hereby authorize, agree, consent to, and ratify allows the supervisor to accept the 36-month term proposal received from Spectrum Enterprises, a full copy of which agreement is attached hereto and made a part thereto, and further authorizes the town supervisor to sign and enter into the said agreement, execute all needed and necessary documents, and pay all amounts required thereunder in furtherance of such. Now therefore be resolved by town board, town of Milton. Motion for resolution number 109.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes, next resolution number 110 of 2023. Resolution to accept the Phase 1 environmental site assessment report conducted and prepared by Sterling Environmental as part of the Woods Hollow Nature Preserve acquisition due diligence. Whereas the town previously authorizes a Phase 1 environmental assessment to be conducted on the property located at 100 Rollins Street, Folsom Spa, New York, as part of the Woods Hollow Nature Preserve purchased by the town from the village, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby acknowledges receipt and accepts the report entitled Phase 1 Environmental Site Assessment prepared by Sterling Environmental Engineering PC regarding the property located at 100 Rollins Street, Folsom Spa, New York, also known as the Wood Nature Hollow Preserve. Now therefore be resolved by town board, town of Milton. Motion for resolution number 110.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes, next resolution number 111 of 2023, resolution to accept the report entitled Folsom Spa Middle Reservoir Dam Safety Inspection Evaluation Report prepared by Edward L. Horn, P.E., whereas the town, as part of its due diligence in the purchase of Woods Hollow Nature Preserve, did cause to have a visual inspection performed by Folsom Spa Middle Reservoir Dam located on the said property. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board hereby acknowledges receipt and accepts the report entitled Folsom Spa Middle Reservoir Dam Safety Inspection Evaluation Report prepared by Edward L. Horn, P.E., dated September 5th, 2023, and provided it to the town board in a copy which is attached here too. Therefore be it resolved by the town board, town of Milton. Motion for resolution number 111.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion? Councilman Isakson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes, the next resolution, 112, 2023, resolution to hire director of planning for the town of Milton, whereas town of Milton is experiencing significant increase in growth and development in the past years and has placed enormous pressure on the current building department and planning board staff, which has increased and highlighted the need for the town to hire a director of planning. And now therefore be it resolved by the town board after due consideration does hereby appoint Jason LaBeouf of 56 Margaret Drive, Folsom Spa, New York, 12020 as the director of planning at an annual salary of $75,670 full-time commencing November 13th, 2023, which duties and responsibilities including those set forth in the county Human Resource Department new position duty statement attached hereto with benefits as provided for by the town personnel policy, and with said hire to be provisionally based upon successfully passing the required civil service examination and being rechargeable for the appointment of consulting eligibility lists and further condition on a 52-week probationary period wherein his performance in and remains acceptable to the town board pursuant to town policy. Motion for resolution number 112.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Is that enough?
Yes.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes,
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes, next resolution number 113 of 2023, resolution to appoint a clerk for the Town of Milton Planning and Zoning Boards. Whereas the Town of Milton's zoning department is in need of a part-time employee for the position of clerk to the Planning and Zoning Boards. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board hereby appoints and hires Stephanie Snow of 11 Ridge Court, Saratoga Springs, New York, 12866, to the position of a part-time clerk for the Town of Milton Planning and Zoning Boards, effective November 27, 2023, as a grade 5, step 1 position at an hourly rate of $20.09 per hour, with their specific hourly schedule to be determined by the department head, with benefits limited only to those that are provided by the town policy, personnel policy, if any, and was said hired to be conditioned on a 6-month probationary period wherein her performance is and remains acceptable to the town board pursuant to the town policy. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, Town of Milton, motion for resolution number 113.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
yes,
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes, next resolution number 114 of 2023. Resolution approving a budgetary amendment contained in the schedule submitted by the town comptroller, whereas the town board of the Town of Milton from time to time find it necessary to make budgetary amendments within the budget year based on recommendations from the town comptroller. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board hereby approves the budgetary amendments and transfers as described and set forth in the schedules provided and recommended by the town comptroller, which said schedules are attached hereto and made a part thereof, and authorizes the town comptroller to proceed and make the necessary budget amendments as set forth therein. Motion for resolution number 114.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
yes,
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes, next, resolution number 115 of 2023, resolution to approve of the internal guidance for processing land use applications, guidance for applicants, site plan, special use, subdivision application forms, the project overview form, and various other forms recently updated by Delaware Engineering DPC, whereas the town board hired Delaware Engineering DPC to provide additional advice and support to the planning board and building department, including but not limited to review of land use applications, tracking and disposition process, as well as the communication with applicants engaged in land use approval process. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board accepts and approves the internal guidance for the process of land use application forms, including forms for site plans, special use subdivisions, project overview forms, and any other miscellaneous forms, copies of which are annexed hereto, and further adopts and authorizes the immediate use and to implement the same. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, Town of Milton, motion for resolution number 115.
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson?
Yes.
Councilman Frolich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
yes,
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes, next resolution number 116 of 2023, resolution approving winter maintenance on Creekside Drive Phase 2 in the Town of Milton. Whereas the town board of the Town of Milton has received a request from Malta Development Incorporated, the developer for the town, to perform snow and ice removal services on Creekside Drive Phase 2 in the Town of Milton. And now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the Town of Milton hereby approves of the town to provide winter maintenance for the roads owned by the developer, limited to snow and ice removal on Creekside Drive Phase 2 during the winter months from November 2023 through March of 2024, and authorizes the town supervisor to sign a contract in regards to the same. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board, Town of Milton, motion for resolution number 116.
I'll make that motion.
second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Frolich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes, next a motion to set a public hearing on December 27th at 6:30 PM regarding a new local law to allow members of all public bodies of the town of Milton to participate in a meeting via video conference under certain conditions.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Frolich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes, next a motion to approve the request to attend the Adirondack Code Enforcement Officials Training 2024 Annual Training in Lake Placid submitted by Bill Lewis. A letter dated by Bill Lewis. The building department is submitting a request for town funds for 3 employees, William Lewis, Fred Harris, and Mark DeLong, for the training that will take place in Lake Placid on March 4th of 2024 until March 7th of 2024, and will allow all the participants to receive the training requirements for the year 2024. The training funds are as follows. The hotel accommodations for all is $1,680, $1,680. Conference fees are $1,400, $1,410, which comes out to $470 per person. Per diem funds, which is $1,066.50, which comes out to $355.50 per person. Training total cost not to exceed $4,500.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Frolich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes, next, a motion to accept the Knollwood Hollow PDD amendment and forward the said amendment to the County Planning Board and the Town of Milton Planning Board for review and recommendations.
Can we do that without having
Yeah.
paperwork?
I think we can. I think we can move it forward. We need to have that paperwork in our file, but
Yes.
I don't think we need to delay it. Obviously, if we don't get it, we would never vote on it and approve it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Frolich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes, next, a motion to accept the resignation of Charles Wolf from the Maintenance and Building Department, effective November 24th of 2023. I have a letter dated November 9th of 2023. I, Charles Wolf, have decided to resign from my position from the town of Milton. My last day of work will be November 24th, 2023. I appreciate the opportunity to have worked with all of you. Thank you, Charles Wolf. Motion to accept Charles Wolf's resignation.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion? Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Councilman Frolich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander.
Yes, next on the agenda, department and committee reports. Animal Control Monthly Report for October 2023. Total calls 106, bite cases 3, dangerous dog hearings 1, animal C17. Tickets issued, unlicensed dog 2, running at large 1, nuisance dog 1, totaling 4, respectfully submitted. David Drzezinski. Next, buildings and grounds.
Buildings and grounds. During the month of October, I did daily cleaning and setup at the community center, which, believe me, is a full-time job, with the seniors moving their tables all the time. I winterized the water wheel and took down nets at the tennis and pickleball courts, cleaned and hosed out park bathrooms, blew out water lines for winterization. After I pressurized the new irrigation system in the middle of the ball field and checked for leaks, I blew out the lines for winter. During my downtime, I worked with the Parks Department cleaning up leaves from our town parks. Respectfully submitted, Mark Leroy.
Thank you, Barb. Next, the building department.
I don't have one. During the month of September, the building department managed 35 building permits, collected $5,105.84 in building permit fees, completed 68 construction inspections, fulfilled 37 fire safety inspections, responded to 27 code enforcement violations, a total of 13 certificates of occupancy along with 21 certificates of compliance were issued, received $4,000 in parks and recs fees and $250 in planning board fees.
Thanks, John. Next, the comptroller's financial reporting package was issued to the town boards, made available for public inspection on our town website. Next, economic development. John, you have anything?
I've been working on a couple of interesting projects, bringing 2 businesses into our town center, and one of them is tentative right now, and I can't speak about it publicly because contracts have not yet been signed, but I think everybody will be very pleased with it. The other project kind of caught me off balance tonight because I was working with an individual that wanted to have a cannabis dispensary right in our town center, and was right in the process of making an offer on one of our vacant buildings. And they were doing that under the assumption that the town was going to be following the state guidelines regarding the setback distances from daycare centers. And under the new local law that you folks just passed, it's 1,000 feet, which is going to kill that deal. Because the state guidelines are 500 feet. So I think we can't talk about that project anymore. And I'm going to have to give the bad news tomorrow to the individual I've been working with. The other thing is I've been working on the promotional brochure for the town to approach businesses to speak about the story that we have to tell in the town of Milton. Once that thing is complete, it's going to be a very interesting and very nice tool to use. And we should have that probably at the next town board meeting. And as a private citizen, I'd just like to make a comment. I'd like to thank Dave Forbes and Jason for all the work that you do with the highway department. They were coming around today, as anybody that lives in the area knows, and picking up all the leaves and the yard waste. And that's just a huge, huge benefit that I personally enjoy and I love. And I say thank you very much for that. And I'm sure everybody else does too.
Thank you, Jim. Next, highway department.
Okay, the highway department has been working diligently with their fall cleanup. They will continue to pick up leaves and yard debris that has been placed curbside until the first major snowfall. We encourage residents to get their debris curbside as quickly as possible. Leaves and yard debris cannot be placed in the roadway, as it creates both a safety issue and a stormwater management violation. Sticks and branches must be kept separate from leaves. Mixed piles may not be picked up. Any branches or small tree trunks must be under 5 feet in length for them to be picked up. We do not pick up stumps. Leaves and yard debris cannot be placed curbside once continuous winter weather begins. Town residents can also bring their lawn debris to the transfer station located at 503 Geyser Road. Transfer station hours are Monday through Thursday from 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. I think that was it. And I gotta get him to change that last line because I'm tired of saying it.
Thanks, John. Mike, you're up. Historian's report.
Good evening, Mike Companion, town historian. It's a short list this evening because I'm only halfway through the month. And I'm one of the few people who actually does the meeting for this month, which I was told recently was a wrong thing to do, but I'm sticking with it. I enjoy this. All right, so first thing I want to say, November 4th, I and my Revolutionary War reenacting group took part in a Veterans Day race at Fort Hardy Park. in Schuylerville in cooperation with the Saratoga County Veterans Organization and Saratoga County 250th Committee. I also met with my town Historic Structures and Places Committee on November 2nd, and we finalized the plans for our Veterans Day program on November 11th, which was really, I actually enjoyed it. I was a little stressed out at first because it was very small attendance. Meg was there, Brenda was there, and I was thankful for their presence because, again, I enjoyed it, like I said, and but next year I told David we have to promote it a little better. I plan on doing it every Veterans Day, so we have to get more people there. But it was nice. We had a good participation by Dave. Dave, what's Dave's last name? Oh my God, I forgot now. Trombley, thank you. Who has an awesome collection of blood tools from Blood X, Side Factory. And it was very interesting. He had, like I said, it's one of the best collections around that I'm aware of. We also put up a new sign for veterans, Revolutionary War veterans, and I showed people where the Pacific soldiers were actually buried. And we're going to rectify a couple of stones there too that need to be a little readjusting. Meg actually unveiled the sign, which was a happy, and I mean, despite the fact there weren't a lot of people there, early on as people were going by, they're beeping no harm in waving and saying thanks, which they're appreciative of the sign and things like that. So recognizing the veterans on Veterans Day in our town. I also spent several hours at Oakwood Cemetery on Friday, and I got most of it raked up again. We did spend a lot of time early in the spring cleaning it up, putting a pathway in, but there's so many leaves over there. No, Jason, you don't have to take care of the leaves. I took care of the leaves. All right, so we get enough to do already with leaves. So I did break up the path. I cleaned up most of the graves. I do want to ask anybody in the community if they want to do any kind of outdoor projects with kids or anything to contact me, because I would like to actually continue the work over there, elevating stones up a little more, putting up a couple more markers indicating like who's buried there and things like that, which I planned last year, but we never got a chance to get back to. So Boy Scout projects or any community projects interested in doing that, contact me so we can get started on that in the spring, because I want to keep this place cleaned up. It looks good, it's accessible now, and it hasn't been for years. So I'm going to continue my work over there. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Next, Justice Court.
Justice courts for the month of October. Fines were $4,524, surcharges $2,253, civil fees $515 for a total of $7,292.
Thank you, Bud. Next, Town Clerk.
For the month of October, we had 8 marriages, one-day officiant license, 13 certified marriage certificates, 49 certified death certificates, 8 FOIL and search of records requests, 127 dog licensing, of which 26 were online, 83 hunting and fishing licenses, 37 pavilion and community center rentals, with a town share of $3,626.62. 1,800 of that was for planning and zoning fees.
Thank you, Brenda. Next, board member discussion on new business.
Scott, did you want me to touch on planning and zoning?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ryan.
That's okay.
I forgot about you down there. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Zoning board met on October 26th. There was one item before them, which was 236 Amy Road, an area variance request for a single-family home. Members of the board are looking to potentially visit the site to evaluate and better visualize the proposed project, so no action taken. And then on November 8th, the planning board met, a handful of items. So first, there was a public hearing held for 202 North Line Road for a new convenience store and gas station. That is the old Sunmark location. The hearing was adjourned until the December meeting, so there'll be further discussion. Special use permit extension was granted for 6654 Middle Grove Road for solar. The Milltown Center site plan review, which was continued discussion, no action taken, but there's a lot of public comment, and I assume that's going to continue for many months. Special use and site plan for 1158 Good Road. The public hearing for that is set at the December meeting. And then Doubleday Avenue mixed use development meeting, subdivision site plan. The planning board was established as lead agency. Discussions will continue at the December meeting. No other actions were taken. Thanks.
Thank you, Ron. Next, the board member discussion on new business. We have our yearly Toys for Tots boxes here. They're located in front of the house here. The dais, if anybody wants to donate, they can bring in some Toys for Tots. They'll be collecting those boxes December 4th, 5 o'clock. They'll be picking those boxes up. So if anybody wants to donate, the boxes are here at Town Hall. We're working with the village regarding the Woods Hollow Dam. Mike, to get back to you, the price on the purchase price was $435,000. I'm not sure with the dam how we're gonna proceed with the cost on the dam issues, so we might be going to the village and negotiating with them if they're gonna fix it or we're gonna take it off the purchase price, so.
And may I just ask, did Sterling, were there any other services of value that the town has agreed to because of that contract? And if so, the cost of that was it considered by Sterling in its assessment that the price would be?
So can I help with that?
Yes.
For a second. So, microphone, I'm up here. That's easier. So my name is Mary Beth Bianconi. I'm the town designated engineer. So I think there's maybe a little misunderstanding about what the Sterling report is. On the bottom of page 6 of that report, I think what you're talking about is section 3.7 says valuation reduction for environmental issues. And it says the authorized scope of services did not include providing an estimate of valuation reduction for environmental issues in connection with the subject property. As indicated in the completed user questionnaire appendix A, the purchase price offered for the subject property reasonably reflects the fair market value. This document, an environmental site assessment, does not evaluate price. That's not its job. What they're saying is exactly the issue was just brought up. When you purchase a property, if there's something that is disclosed during the due diligence that has to be paid for, you have to figure out how you're gonna do it. So when you do an environmental site assessment, you're looking for hazardous waste, any of those kinds of impacts. So to the extent, and this is not the case here, this was water supply, so there's no, buried fuel tanks, any of that kind of stuff. So it would have identified if there was anything like that, and then it would have said, okay, the cost of remediation of pulling out a buried fuel tank is $3,000, and that would have been made that statement. So I just want to clarify that an environmental site assessment does not evaluate the purchase price of a property. What it would do is say, like with the dam, there's some things that need to be done, it would identify what those things would be, and then that could potentially be a discussion for the purchase, how it's going to be evaluated. So I hope that clarifies your question.
Thank you, Maria. Mike, any other question in reference to the winter maintenance of the village? We have not executed a contract with them as of yet. Next, board member discussion on old business. We talked about Woods Hollow. We do have a draft to the village for review in reference to Woods Hollow. The attorneys are going back and forth and some changes will be made, and then once we get the final changes, we'll obviously present it to everyone. Next on the agenda, public comment number 2.
Facility? Under facility?
Yeah, you can do it, okay,
Just an update on our facilities. Concrete has been going in the last 2 weeks up at our project here for the fuel island and the cold storage building. Steel is here for the cold storage building. That probably will start next week, Jason? Give or take?
I don't want to speak for them.
Weather dependent.
It's pretty much on schedule to where we expected it to be. Just to give everybody an idea on the Reimagine Milton, this is up on the website now. Please go look at it. There are also other areas. This is really a work in progress, so if you have ideas about what you'd like to see in this area, and this includes this area that we're sitting in, certainly make that known so we can keep this as a work in progress, keep it flowing. This is essentially what we thought as a group, and from our surveys and such, not from the people, of what they were looking for recreation here in town. I think it'll be a nice addition.
Is that it, John? Oh, thank you. Next, public comment number 2, on any other town business. Anybody in the audience like to speak on any other town business? There are none. Brenda, anybody via Zoom?
No hands.
There'll be no executive session this evening, so a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Watson?
Yes.
Councilman Crowell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr?
Yes.
Councilman Blaisdell?
Yes.
Supervisor Ostrander?
Yes. Next board meeting will be December 27th at 6:30. Happy Thanksgiving.